Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so and a few other things in regards to the same topic, of course, because there's really nothing else to talk about in regards to the NBA, of course. Kevin Durant, Brooklyn Nets. So, a couple days ago, we were saying we don't really know. Sorry, greasy face, just got the shower, you know how that goes. Eating breakfast, all that. All right, don't really know where KD and Kyrie stand in terms of their friendship with one another. We weren't certain. However, as we always say with basketball players, you got to look into different things because they're not going to necessarily be able to verbalize, but they will symbolize. Twitter, clothing, all of that. Ticket TV pointed out that KD was wearing a Be Different t-shirt. Be Different is one of the key phrases that Kyrie often puts at the end of statements that he makes. It's what he stands for, basically. It's Be Different, you know, and be a trailblazer for change and be a thinker, independent thinker, which is something that I think is always the path to change is through the minds of people like that. So I'm aligned with that. I believe in that. If you care. So it's one of those situations where I think that is a tea leaf telling us that they are on the same page right now. Have they been on the same page? Who knows? But as of the Travis Scott concert, KD, Kyrie Irving, they're cool. That's what that tells us. Because he wouldn't have worn that shirt if he didn't want us to know that. And he knows, I'm sure he listens to the same stuff we listen to. Because KD has his ear to the street about as well as any athlete in the world. So we know he knows that people are wondering if he's cool with Kyrie right now and how important that is to the landscape's understanding. It really is. These little things make the difference on the price tag. And that's why it's so important that people understand the business of basketball, because something so significant or something so insignificant can be the difference between a pick being thrown in or not. Because if we know he's on the same page with Kyrie Irving, then that changes the trajectory of what we believe we can do as the Lakers in terms of what Kyrie Irving's value is. Because if KD still wants Kyrie there, it means something different to the Nets based on what he meant to what the Nets meant, what KD meant to the Nets. Sorry, trying to put all this together it's a lot. But now that we know KD and the Nets are on the outs, that changes everything. But the Travis Scott concert was 2 days ago, and so information has been revealed to us about KD's demands since then. And I would imagine, it's probably not a good hypothesis, maybe, but I would say something that took place in that weekend might have prompted KD to make these demands. But as I further thought that out, probably not in such a short amount of time. This is more so something long term that these guys have been planning with his agent and stuff like that, in my opinion. So no, scratch that thought. But what I do think is that Kevin Durant is still very much on the same page with Kyrie, and I think that they have probably crossed the threshold of believing that Kyrie no longer has the 5-year deal on the table at this point. I think that's why KD threw a Molotov cocktail on his relationship with the Nets 2 days ago. It's because he came to terms that their plan to get Kyrie paid ain't gonna work. Not with the Nets anyway. Or, which is a less likely scenario, maybe they just decided, even if it is still on the table, forget this place. Much less likely in my opinion. So that's what I think is going on there. I don't think KD actually thinks Joe Tsai is going to fire anybody. As we already said, we don't think that Joe Tsai would even consider that. If anything, he should be insulted by that. And I'm sure he is. You should take it as an insult. I think he is, and he's going to try to trade this man or make him suffer by not trading him and kind of coercing him either to play or hold out. Which I think is actually something I wouldn't rule out right now, especially if those trades that come in aren't very good. If Joe Tsai and those guys don't like the trades that they receive, you could totally see them be petty with Kevin Durant. Shouldn't be something that none of us expect to see coming. and so on and so forth. So I don't know. This can go a lot of different ways, but all in all, I do expect that we will have a conclusion to all of this before the season, because I'm going to be honest with you guys. I totally see Adam Silver stepping in at some point. It's going to have to. Because if KD holds out, what you have is, in theory, teams not making any moves all the way up into the trade, all the way up until the start of the season. And if that's the case, you literally have a couple teams in the league that are incomplete. And I cannot stress that enough. Basketball teams that are not right now built to even play basketball, let alone win. And so a couple moves need to be made in order for the product to be of standard. And so, because I understand this, if this continues to be a problem where KD is holding up the entire market, because I don't think anybody's going to move until they know they don't have the pieces necessary to acquire him anymore. No one's going to give up the pieces they need to get him. In other words, nothing's probably going to be done. If that's the case, it's incumbent upon Adam Silver in representing the owners to assure that the owners don't put product on the floor that they can't succeed with. I think that's what it really comes down to. And that's how I'm looking at it. And that doesn't necessarily mean that's how the field is going to behave, but that's how I see it in my head. You can't let the season start with some of these teams looking the way they are. The Utah Jazz need to finish what they're doing. They got to get Donovan Mitchell to a situation. The Lakers need to finish doing what they're doing. You have to make some sense of this roster. And there are other teams as well that are going to make moves. The Brooklyn Nets, obviously. You have to make sense of your roster. Right now, if KD's not going to be a part of your situation, I don't know what you're asking your fans to pay for. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know if your team even, honestly, no. It's not done. Like this, that simple. So, Adam Silver, I don't expect him to step in anytime soon. Not before training camp or something like that. Training camp can go on, all of that. But if the season starts, the regular season starts, and this is still a problem, yeah, I expect him to say, hey, look, you guys got to make a move here. Like, seriously. I am putting my foot down, and I'm telling you guys, things are going to have to happen right now because our product is suffering. Clearly, we're setting a bad precedent for the next collective bargaining agreement, or rather negotiations, which we know are going to be intense, to say the least. And right now, we can do something about it. And so, make something happen, basically, is what I think he's going to end up saying sooner than later. Or rather, at that point. So, we'll see, man. We'll see. We will see. I do believe that Kevin Durant has no problem holding out. I have no doubt that he will stand on his principles as it pertains to this. I would be shocked, utterly shocked, if he steps out there and plays for the Brooklyn Nets if some changes aren't made that he wants to see. And I also think, I was listening to Jay Will, I would believe it was Jay Will, Molly, Mad Dog this morning. Mad Dog made all the points that I agree with, unfortunately, in regards to KD. I don't like those truths, but KD has put himself in a position to allow people to be honest and sound that bad about him in regards to his path and what he's chosen to do, leaving this place, going to that place, leaving that situation, and all of that is just, it is what it is. And now he's leaving the Nets. So, Mad Dog broke it down, and I had no retort. It just is what it is. There were reasons for why each and every one of those situations became necessary for him to leave, and maybe we can break those down and give him a little bail. But at the end of the day, people don't care about the why, they just care about the results. And unfortunately, the results are him leaving all these places. Now, does that mean he should stay in Brooklyn from this point? No. You burned that bridge, blew it up damn near. So I think at this point, everybody is eager to leave Brooklyn, or have a parting of ways in that regard anyway. So I see that coming. He's still on the same page with Kyrie Irving because of the shirt, as we said. So that means Kyrie is probably on board with the moves that he's asking the front office to make, which is really interesting because I think that lends itself to the front office then turning their attention to Kyrie Irving and saying something like, I think you're still aligned with him. That kind of thing. That could mess up the chemistry in the front office with Kyrie. Even if he hasn't made no declarations of that sort, it could still be a thing where they're looking at him and saying he's still aligned with that dude. You know, so I expect Kyrie to be moved. I don't think anything's changed at all. At all. In fact, if I'm Kyrie, I got my furniture in my new LA pad. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got mail already coming there. I'm serious, man. I'm dead serious. I just think that the Brooklyn situation has dried all the way up for Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant at this point. I don't think that either one of them will ever put on that uniform again at this point. Now, if you asked me 2 days ago, I felt like they were going to start the season with that team, and I thought they were going to be cool, and they would find play their value up, and eventually it would be a situation where they just trade them, probably within a month of the season. But now, oh boy, I don't know. But what I do know is I don't think those guys are going to be playing for Brooklyn no more. I know that. Nah. They're probably both going to hold out if it starts the season that way. And see, nobody sees that coming because Kyrie Irving never put a trade request out there. You know what I'm saying? He never said anything at all about retiring or sitting out in any way, shape, or form. So this is just my brain speaking to you, speculating on things. But I'm looking at this situation, I honestly am saying, if the season starts, I think it's a reasonable thought to consider that Kyrie may just not even play for them if he's on the team. And KD's sitting out, I could see him supporting KD by sitting out as well. I have no evidence of this. This is just BDF talking to you. That's what I think is probably going to happen because they are that tight. And it appears that way to me, just off of the strength of him still showing support for Kyrie after all that this appears to have been. That tells me that they've been communicating constantly throughout all this. James Harden's probably been aligned with them too. And see, everybody just assumed automatically that James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and KD didn't have an understanding because James Harden left. No, if three people understand what each and every one of them need, and they understand what each and every one of them are going through in the situation, there's no need to be emotional. We can sit down over cigars and discuss our points of views. I'm not taking the shot. You don't have time to be sitting here waiting for me to come back. Neither does KD. The Nets need to trade Harden in a certain amount of time because of the contractual situation any damn way if he's not going to re-sign with the team as to which he's not playing up to a certain level, so the Nets probably are not going to want to re-sign him at that level. Now, mind you, these guys are friends. So they know, and this is my speculation, they know the relationship between James Harden and Daryl Morey. So if they really gang, if they really homies, they're probably trying to, as a collective unit, try to figure out how best to get James Harden in a situation to help him win. Everybody's sitting there thinking, oh, he's trying to get the hell away from these guys. Man, they're probably trying to sit there and figure out, all right, like, your timeline is this, my timeline is this. I know I ruined the situation with the Nets because of the injection. You got to get out of here, bro, because we want you to win, and this is not going to happen because I ain't taking that damn injection. And y'all know why I'm doing it, and it is what it is, but we got to figure out the best way to do this. All right, so KD has the leverage. Harden, we can get him shipped to Philly so we can get to a situation where he can be settled and win, get read up in a good situation where he knows he's going to have the GM situation catered to him. Because as we look at the tea leaf right now, they don't like the GM. You see what I'm saying? If KD is telling us the truth, he's telling us that he wants out of there and he's willing to put the GM's job on the line to ensure it happens, that means he didn't really like the GM. So if I'm looking at that situation the way I'm saying, and these three friends are looking at the situation and saying, okay, we can get James to where his boy is at. He know he going to take care of him. James' career is going to end properly. We get him to Philly, pair him up with his guy. James is straight. Our boy James, we don't got to worry about him. Now, what's up with KD? KD's already on tab. All right, KD's paid. Cool. What's up with Kyrie? Well, his situation with the jab didn't work out. Now, they're not going to want to pay him. They're going to put all these weird ass contingencies in there. We don't like that. No, them contingencies ain't going to work. So how do we do this? Well, I can use my contract as leverage. I, KD, demand you pay Kyrie. That way, they can't look at him and put all that contingency crap. They got to give him his money and his years. We'll get him paid. Us two can stay here with the flexibility of not having 3 max contracts. James Harden, again, Philadelphia where he needs to be at his best and also be in a situation where he could be winning. That's what we want for our boy, because that's our boy. How do we get ourselves taken care of? The only guy left is Kyrie Irving. Kyrie's plan, fast forward to today, the plan they had to get Kyrie paid didn't work, and they're mad about it. That's where we are. James, cool. KD's paid no matter what. But the plan to get Kyrie paid failed. Why? Because they overestimated the desire that the Nets had to keep KD over the overall conglomerate's desire to punish Kyrie for not taking the jab. That is my hypothesis of this entire situation. I do believe that those 3 people are still aligned. They're all friends. They all wanted the best for each other till this very second. Never ever did that waver. Them being on the same team was not a byproduct of their, not the foundation of their friendship. It ain't what, it's not the foundation of their friendship is what I'm telling you guys. So as I look at that situation, and I believe it to be the case, if they communicated throughout this entire process, there was never any reason for them to ever be on a different page. So the plan was always set. Get James to Daryl. Get Kyrie paid, and KD's always going to be straight because he's KD. We didn't expect it to get this bad. Nor did we expect the market to get this bad based on the price tag of everything being as it is with inflation and Rudy Gobert trade and all of that. So that was a variable that you couldn't foresee that ultimately affected why things haven't panned out the way they should. Should have never been a stalemate. The other side of the plan should have been, okay, KD gets traded to where he wants to go, Phoenix. Kyrie gets to the Lakers. Auditions 1 year with the Lakers at $36 million because, of course, he's opted in and traded after that. If for some reason he doesn't get offered the 5 years without the contingencies. And then from there, we can move forward. Hopefully he gets a 5 year or 4 year with Jeannie Buss. KD obviously is in Phoenix or Miami or wherever he wants to land, as to which he's going to be good because he's on a 4 year contract and he's one of the great players, so he's going to be in contention no matter what. So he's the least of the people you have to worry about in regards to trying to make sure everybody's straight within the trio. Now, that's just my hypothesis. For all I know, it's more than a trio. Maybe it's 4 other players involved in that situation too. But what I'm telling you is this. I don't think any of these guys are mad at each other at this point. I don't think the plan is going as it should have, though. That's what I think. I don't think the plan went as it should. I think the Kyrie situation just did not work out, you know. Just underestimate or overestimate how bad they hate this man. Underestimate, I guess. They really, really are angry at him. And so it is what it is. That's what I see there. And now they're angry at KD. That's what it is. But at the end of the day, with all of this madness, they're mad at KD. But I still think they're much more mad at Kyrie. Because Kyrie was the one who influenced others not to take the vaccine in their eyes. So it's a different type of offense. And so on and so forth. So we just keep our eyes on those points. We don't let those points get out of our minds. We don't lose sight of the overall, maneuvering or molding of the character of these guys. We know they've made certain mistakes. My mom used to call it giving your enemies ammo. I think KD and Kyrie have given their enemies ammo. Plenty to use against them. That's all I think has happened here. And Kyrie and KD have not made the greatest decisions, and as a result, they've made enemies, and those enemies are really cunning, and really savvy, and really, really influential. And so, as a result, they look like really, 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 really bad guys. And I think something else too. The world we're in, and this aligns with the Think Different thing. The world we're in looks at the system that that we have is to where you sign a contract and you honor that contract, and that's the relationship that binds us together. It's what keeps us honest. But I think in the world that we're in right now, we realize that doesn't work. That there's more fluidity in circumstances. People have to be able to move a little more because there's more going on right now than it ever has been before. So it's not as simple as I can be here and honor this for that long. I can't promise you I'm gonna even want to be in that spot for 6 months from now. It's not the same world we're in. So the system that we operate in needs to evolve. Now, I know that's an independent thought that I have worked into in the forefront of my mind. But as I listen to the field, no one's saying that. They're all saying, honor the contract. You're a disgrace for not honoring the contract. And what I'm saying is, the system, it's archaic. It's old. It doesn't work. That's not how we are. We're using stuff from a time that didn't have the internet. And we're trying to apply it to a time that does. And all that entails is not being encompassed fully into the minds of the individual people who are assessing the situation. Guys are reacting to a new world that wants to apply old ways. It hasn't caught up to itself. And guys are having to react to that because they're in it. That's what I see there. So, we're looking at the guy saying, you're not honoring the old system. And I'm telling you, the system doesn't work anymore. Guys are trying to maneuver in the system. You're on the outside of it, telling them to move the way you think they should, when if you were in that system yourself, you couldn't move that way. And you would find that out as soon as you jumped in it. Now, what I know is that these players are doing the best they can with the little time they have left to play. What I also know is that these owners are doing the best they can with the changing landscape that they have to now maneuver in. And nobody's caught up to understanding what the hell is going on. Except for myself, it seems. So, what needs to happen now is people need to breathe, realize the world has changed. You can't move the way that you used to, and start fixing the system to fit the times we're in. New times. Players are making more money. Nobody wants to be stuck in a bad situation, especially when people haven't fixed the ability to simplify the science of the cap, as we talk about every day. When they figure out a way to simplify that and make it easy for everyone to learn, then people can maneuver better in it, then you have less incompetence and you have less insubordination. It's a trickle-down thing, baby. Got to figure it out. That's why I say be like water, NBA, because until you figure out that these players are not insubordinate but moving in a system that no longer fits the world they're in, reacting to something that no longer fits the world they're in, but is still being applied and demanded upon in the same way like we're still in 1994 or something, nah. Can't turn like we're in 1994 because it's 2022. It's a different world. There's more money floating around. Guys want out of bad situations because things are happening faster. So that means mistakes are happening faster and they're lasting longer because people can't assess what the long-term effects of the mistakes will be based on the fact that this is uncharted territory. I can't stress it enough, ladies and gentlemen. Be like water. Why? Because not everybody understands exactly where they are. So how can we be so arrogant as to think we're doing things properly? I'm trying to tell you that we've been moving so fast that we didn't even realize that we've passed ourselves up. And the NBA is just one aspect of that. We have that problem across the board in so many different facets of our lives right now. And most people are moving too fast to even know it. So, the NBA is a good example of that. And I'm telling you guys, that's what needs to happen. Everybody needs to slow down, be like water, work with one another, stop looking at each other and saying, you're doing wrong, and start realizing that the system is outdated. That's all. That's literally it. My name is BDO44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.